Here we are again, my favorite place in the house, the bathroom. I don't know why I always say that. Maybe it's because I like to take hot baths or something. But anyways, what is our project today? I've got the cabinet doors off, and this is a small, tight, confined bathroom, and I hope I'm going to be able to show you everything, because I got to crawl down there later. Let me try to get set up a little bit. We're going to talk about this sink right here, this faucet. Now this faucet, do you have a faucet like this, by the way? When you try to wash your hands, you turn that water on, you have to put your hands right up against the back to wash your hands because this spout doesn't stick out far enough. I hate that when that happens. And the other thing is, on this one here, you're in luck because it's leaking, and the owner was thinking about replacing, taking this apart and pulling the seal out and all that and going to the store. And I said, by the time you do all that, and if you don't have the puller and if you don't have the right parts, you got to buy everything, it might be just as cheap, if not just a little bit more pricey, to take this out and put in a brand new one. So that is what this video is about. We're going to be replacing this faucet. If you want to know how to do that, stick around. Now generally the first thing I do is I clean everything out from underneath the sink. This thing was packed with all kinds of stuff. It even had a sliding tray on here, and that was pretty cool. I was able to leave that and slip out the rest of it. But on these doors, sometimes doors you can snap them out of there. These were like the hidden type hinges, but these were slightly different. So I just went ahead and unscrewed the whole thing, took it out. It only took me a few minutes to do that. I took those doors out. The last thing you want is to think, oh, I'll be able to slip in there. I'll just prop the door open and I won't hit it. I'll be careful. And then you're squirming around underneath the sink and doing something and reaching for something, and you tweak the door and you break the door off, or you break half the hinge or the particle board inside or whatever. Be safe, not sorry. Now there are all kinds of shapes and models of faucets, so you don't have to get one like this. You can get any kind you want, but you want to get one that kind of sticks out a little bit further than the last one, and this one does that. You just don't want to get it too far, and most bathroom faucets won't anyways. This is the same style. Well, actually they have two handles from before, so they kind of like that. But you can get one kind of like this with the handle here that pulls out, up, and then you can slide it to the right and left. So whatever you want to do, okay? And I found this one's kind of cool. They didn't make faucets like this when I was a kid. Everything had all kinds of things you had to do, and special plumber's putty you had to put up on top and everything. They make this very simple. See, this slides down through the hole, and then they have these loose, and you just kind of tighten that up like that. And then that slips down through the counter, and then they have just some little plastic goodies here. Let's see here. It's going to slide up like that underneath, and you're just going to tighten that down. Let's see how we can get that. There. And that'll go up underneath the counter. It also gives you this little tool. I'm not quite sure what that is just yet. We'll have to look at that. Well, I guess I'll have to read the directions on that one. I'm not quite sure. See that? We'll get back to that later. But most of this you can just basically tighten up by hand, maybe a small pair of pliers or something, so it's going to be pretty slick on doing that. And this is something else I like. These flexible tubes were already on there, and this is the right size to fit right down at the gate valve, and luckily the gate valve has this same type of fitting on there. You know, if your water gate valves don't have this type of connection, then you're going to have to decide what to do. So it's really important before you go to the store and get all your parts and stuff, look at underneath the sink and see what you have, okay? I'll show you right now what we have under the sink and what to look for. Wow, that's pretty slick. I just read the directions, figured out what this was. You figured it out just yet? There's a little aerator screen in there. Lots of times you can reach in there. Usually they stick out a little bit. You can grab it with a pair of pliers or something and turn it out. This one is recessed right in there so it doesn't stick down. You put this in there like that, and then you can turn that and take it out and put it back in. It's generally a good idea that when you're replacing this, you go ahead and take your little aerator screen out, because we're going to shut the water off. Once we shut the water off and do everything, then once you get the faucet all installed, you're going to want to turn the water on, flush anything out of the lines that happen to come in after you shut the water off. Then we'll go ahead and put the aerator back on. Now if you don't do that, worst case scenario, you turn it back on. Sometimes it'll be fine. Other times you might think, oh, there's one little piece of grit that caught up in there. Then you'll have to unscrew that later, flush it out, and put it back in. So there's a little tip for you. Let's just talk about this really quick. Here's the drain line, okay? You can go ahead and replace that too, but I'm looking at the existing one. The existing one looks pretty good, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to replace that or not just yet. Here's the piece at the back of the faucet where we're going to connect that up underneath the sink. I'll show you step by step as we go. You'll be able to do it too.